to work out. When we got close, I told him the details. We would have 40 minutes, and then after showers, we'd meet in the lobby. He was appalled. 40 minutes? That's not even worth it, Mom. I replied, anything worth doing is worth doing half-assed. He was shocked, not just because of my inappropriate choice of words, which he wasn't used to from me, but also because he knows me. He knows that I do things wholeheartedly. He admires that, and while he might not admit this, I have noticed that he emulates it. He reminded me sternly that everything worth doing was worth doing well. This is where the idea for the sermon started. So let me tell you what I've come up with by now. The origin of this idiom, anything worth doing is worth doing well, can be traced to many different sources in the literature. In the past century, Hunter S. Thompson wrote, anything worth doing is worth doing right. That seemed a little intense, since Hunter Thompson was known for his use of psychedelics, drugs, alcohol, and firearms. I was not sure what doing right might look like for him, so I kept on looking. Variations of this quote went further back, though. In the 18th century, Chesterfield wrote, in truth, whatever is worth doing at all is worth doing well. H.G. Wells agrees in 1915, if a thing's worth doing at all, it's worth doing well. Now, G.K. Chesterton had another take on this in 1910, though. He wrote, if a thing is worth doing, it is worth doing badly. Okay, he didn't say half-assed, but it seems to be the same idea. Let's look at this idiom. Anything worth doing is worth doing well. If you've ever seen someone excel at something and found yourself in awe and delight at this, you know that there's truth in this. I love art, for instance, and I hunt down art museums wherever I go. And when I look at a great Monet or Renoir painting, I am so grateful that these artists put their heart and soul wholeheartedly into this painting to capture the light, which seems to shine right out back at me when I gaze at the painting. It's amazing. Or if you are in a concert and the music seems to flow right into your soul and take you to a different dimension, you experience something done truly well. When I read books which are interesting and entertaining and also use language that is eloquent and a beautiful art form, I am delighted by those words. Things done well seems to take us to our very core. They allow us to get centered and inspire us to excel in turn. I think that's why I love watching the Olympics. There is an aspect of international get-together of amazing diversity, which I thoroughly enjoy. But above that, the absolute commitment to doing one's best inspires me even more. Excellence can be so beautiful. There's one event from the 2008 Olympic Games in China that still stays with me. The women's marathon race was fascinating. I couldn't stop watching it and stayed with it for the whole 2.5 hours it took them. Just the start of such a race was overwhelming, with the large numbers of diverse women all starting at the same time, filling and spilling into the streets. Then after a while, a lead group gathers in front 20 to 30 women and set the pace. Up until the middle of the race, all was as expected. Then I saw the Romanian runner, Constantina Dieter, look at her watch, right at 13-mile marker, and she picked up the pace just a little. After a mile or so, the commentators started to notice, because she was starting to put a little distance. They predicted that she would burn out quickly, because she was one of the oldest runners. At age 38, She was certainly a senior citizen in that bunch that was racing there. And she was not seen as a contender at all. But Konstantina did not hear them. She did not see them either. Actually, she did not see anybody. She just kept gaining a few seconds every mile. Between mile 13 and 19, she gained almost a minute on the lead pack. And she kept on going. I kept wondering, does she know how far away she is from these people? Sometimes she had turned a corner and nobody could even see her anymore. But I watched her carefully. She never once looked back. Even when she went around corners where a quick glance would not cost her any time, she did not look. She didn't seem to care where anybody else was. She had a plan for her race. She had practiced for that race, and she was running her race. Despite the forebodings of these horrible commentators, she knew what she was doing, and she kept her lead. When she finally entered the stadium for the last round, before she would hit the finish line, no one was even close. She ran around the track, crossed the finish line as the oldest Olympic champion ever, and Olympic marathon champion ever, and she grabbed the Romanian flag. And she ran and laughed and smiled and kept on running. She did not just do her one victory lap with the flag, she did several of them. When she finally slowed down and stopped, big grin stayed on her face. It was beautiful. She had paced herself so well. She not only had energy left, she had obvious joy and delight in her movement, in her running, in her race, in the Olympics. That was amazing. Everything worth doing is worth doing well, and she had done so well. So why question the wisdom of this idiom? Well, there were other racers in that same marathon that day who were a lot less fun to watch. The pre-race favorite, for instance, was Paula Radcliffe from Britain. She had months before recovered from a stress fracture and now was seen to be the peak contender to win this thing. It became quite obvious as the race progressed, though, that she had not fully healed. And she was in increasing pain and agony through those 26 miles. She did not drop out, though. She wanted to do this well, and she pushed herself again and again. By the time she finally reached the finish line, she collapsed in a heap of pain and anguish and despair. Now, why did she do this? Is everything worth doing really worth doing that well? She was in the 23rd spot when she made it, so why did she have to hurt herself like that? Pushing herself in an attempt to perfection did not benefit her, or her country, or us viewers. It was self-harm broadcast across the globe. Not fun. Self-harm is one danger of this idiom. Another danger is resignation and hopelessness. No, we humans do not do everything well. Many of us do not even attempt things because of this very pressure. Do you really want to apply for this new job? Do you want to get another degree? Do you want to sing in the choir? Do you want to become a worship associate in this congregation? Do you want to chair a committee? Nah, I don't want to try. I might not do this well enough. I might not be up to the challenge. So it's better not to try. That is such nonsense, but it is common. It is especially painful and sad when I see children back off from tasks and challenges, even the most joyful ones, for fear of failure. Many children do not do artwork or sing or dance simply because they feel pressure to do it well and they fear they might not. Actually, those are the kind of things children are supposed to do poorly and joyfully. But we live in a high-pressure society, and children feel the pressure to impress and perform. You know, some kids are too scared to even come to the front for a story, as if you could do that wrong. No, we're not all above average, not even us humans. We are humans filled with weaknesses and flaws, and that is fine. We will not always excel at our tasks. We will not have the perfect look, the perfect speech, the perfect face, the perfect body, the perfect style. I recently read a book by Portia de Rossi, Unbearable Likeness. In this book, she takes us on a journey through her history of having an eating disorder. Even as a certified international eating disorder specialist, which I happen to be, it was shocking for me to read. The pressure to lose weight, maintain a ridiculously low weight, the fear of doing it wrong, and the obsession with externals was depressing and downright scary. Oh, she sure lived by the motto, everything worth doing is worth doing well, including weight loss. She did it so well she almost died from that. And quite a few people do die from those diseases. When she finally received several medical diagnoses, including life-threatening ones, on the same day, she had her first breakthrough in recovery. She got to the point where she could state, okay, I am sick. I have successfully lowered the bar. I don't have to be a straight-A student or be a movie star to be proud of myself. I just have to live. I accept myself the way I am. I accept myself.